Welcome to Yin Yoga. My name is Bridget from Lucky Elephant Yoga and Wellness, and I will be leading you through the practice today. So Yin Yoga, if you're not familiar with it, comes from the Taoist tradition of Yin and Yang. It's the concept that we have two energies inside of our bodies, and that is our Yin and our Yang energies. Our Yang energy is the one that we're typically in most days, which is very active, always moving, muscular energy, right? That go, 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 the effort, right? Associated with the inhale, with sun, with, more heat, right? And then our Yin energy is our more moon energy, it's our grounding energy, it's associated with the exhale, it's the parasympathetic nervous system, it's that resting of the body. And so Yin Yoga allows us to connect into that Yin energy in a way that also informs the physical body in a new way as well. With our Yang energy and our Yang yoga practices like Vinyasa and Hatha and Anusara and Ashtanga and all of those, we focus a lot on the muscles, right? We inform the muscles, we stretch them, we strengthen them, we change them. And Yin Yoga gets past the muscular effort and works more into our connective tissue. So our joints have ligaments and tendons connecting them. Our muscle fibers have fascia surrounding. And when we inform and strengthen our connective tissue and break up some of the fascia that's really tight around the muscle fibers, then we are able to inform the muscles even more and move the joints more safely and more effectively. So a Yin Yoga practice really informs a flow or a very active class that you might be taking. So in another class, you can take our Yin Yasa, which is both of these concepts put together. It's part Yin, part flow. But this class is going to deal only on that Yin effort and the Yin energy. So what we do is then we hold stretches, hold postures for 5 to 7 minutes. And the way that the body responds to a posture is that initially your muscles kick in and they try to release or resist a stretch. And so it takes a little bit of time for the body to register stretch and to start to release muscular effort and really let go of that holding and resisting. And so it takes about 3 minutes for the body to release the muscular effort. From 3 minutes to 5 or 7 minutes, wherever we stay, you're getting the benefits of informing and strengthening the connective tissue and making them work. So then they are more informed around the joints, and then you're left with more informed muscular structure as well. So I will set myself up into these poses. I'll set my little trusty timer, and then we will stay in the poses. You stay there until I call you out of it. But remember that this practice also is fluid for you, which means you only do what feels okay for your body. Sensation is good. We want sensation of the body. We want new. Remember that your body's going to resist with muscular effort initially, but giving yourself that time, that 3 minutes to let go, to really breathe, to really inform the exhale, right? That's our Yin energy, the exhale, let go. Then you may find that your body adjusts over the time. So sensation is good, but pain is never good. So if you're in intense pain, something's not working, then you either need to come partway out of it or stop doing it altogether. If you can come partway out and find a space where you can find the breath again and stay there, then great, do that. But really listen to your own body and understand that this practice is not supposed to be easy. It is supposed to be work and effort for the body to let go, effort for the mind to let go, and for us to really ground into it. All right, so if you have a yoga mat, or you can even do this practice on a rug, something nice and comfortable for your body underneath you. I have a blanket. You can have, if you don't have a yoga blanket, you can grab a throw blanket or a throw pillow off of your couch or wherever you have something like that. And then 2 blocks. If you don't have blocks, then I recommend like rolled up like towels, bath towels, something that you can get kind of sturdy that you'll lay on. I wouldn't necessarily recommend books for this. They might not work so well, but you want something with a little bit of sturdy to it. So typically towels tend to work the best if you don't have blocks laying around. All right, so we will start in our first posture today, which is heart bench. And so heart bench targets this area of the chest, right? It allows us to kind of expand through the chest, and it's said to be a pose that helps the heart move more towards its natural positioning in the body and gets really deep into our center, right? Also opening up into emotional aspects. But one of the things that I love the most that this posture does for me is that when I've been at a computer a lot, I've been doing a lot of work, or I've been on my phone and my posture tends to be like this. This posture helps me to open it up and helps me to feel a little bit more upright after I do it. So this is a great one that I love to do every day. So you can also already see that I've taken my blocks and I've placed them in a T. And I've started on the middle height, but I'm going to take this one block and I'm going to flip it up. And that's my own personal preference because my head and shoulders are a little bit tighter. So you can keep it here. You can take it here. You can also lower this one to the lowest if you're really tight here in the chest. And so this block, very important where it falls. So hopefully you can see me on this video. My bottom is still on the ground. I'm not picking my bottom up at all. I'm going to carefully lay myself back so that this block comes right at the space where my low back and my thoracic spine meet, right? There's that spot where lumbar and thoracic meet, and that's where you want the edge of the block. And then the middle of the block hits right between the shoulder blades, so my shoulder blades can start wrapping around the block. Then the back of my head finds the other block. It was a little too far away. There we go. And then I bring the soles of my feet together, and I take my knees apart, so that I get a little hip opening as well here. There we go. If your hips are feeling really tight, you can also take a couple of pillows and stuff them underneath your knees. All right, so get yourself all set up. And I will set our timer. Good, we're gonna stay in this one for 5 minutes. Here we go. Oh, and your arms can go out to the sides. They can be down a little bit, they can be straight out, they can be up a little bit. And if you feel like your shoulders are open enough, you can even try grabbing opposite elbows. But remember, we're gonna be here for some time. So you don't have to go right to your end result right away. The body can go deeper as we stay and explore the posture as the muscular effort starts to release more. You can explore depth. Your eyes can close or just stay soft. Let's see if the breath can really be attentive to the belly. And to a deep, even inhale and deep, even exhale. Then slowly roll over to your right side, carefully coming off of your props. Take a moment. And then slowly press yourself up to sit, letting your head dangle as you come up. Good. Excellent. So from here, we're going to move into a twist, still informing the movement of the spine. And when we're sitting static a lot, the spine can get a little bit too rigid. So a good deep twist is very nice to release some of that muscular strain. So we'll take our blocks and turn them on the lowest height into an equal sign, okay? And so we always want to twist to the right first, so make sure you start on your right hip. Your knees can be kind of high. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my body towards my blocks. So my knees are off to the side, turning my body, and then I'm going to lay forward. And I'm going to bring my lower block or towel, whatever you have, right underneath my low ribs, kind of that diaphragm place, and then my forehead right onto the upper block. And then here, I'm going to let my elbows move out to the side so that my shoulders can start to release. If you would like to turn your head to the right, then that will continue the twist through the cervical spine. But if you feel discomfort or you have problems in the cervical spine, then you don't want to do that. Also, if you have any lumbar spine issues, if you have herniated discs, if you have osteoporosis in the low back, then I would say just kind of fast forward through the video and skip this part because you don't really want a super deep twist in that case. But for the general public, you should be okay for this, as long as it feels all right. So let's get set up into our twist on the right side. All right, and here we go. This is also a really great posture for increasing digestion. And so much of our digestion, our digestive system holds our immune system as well. You may notice that I did a little bit of different setup. I actually moved my block underneath my chest and then put my blanket underneath my head. So if you're feeling at all discomfort underneath the chest or too much holding, then you can add a little extra support. But if you're fine where you are, then just stay. Okay, to come out of this side, turn your head to face down, bring your hands under your shoulders, and then press yourself up and roll up through the spine. Pressing all the way up, and then turn around to set up on the other side. Good. So, I'm going to readjust my blocks and see how I feel on this side, because side to side and every pose is very different for your body because of the patternings of your body or the way that your muscular structure has developed. So get yourself set up on the left hip this time, knees out to the side. Turn the body towards the blocks. Then we're going to lay forward and place the forehead down, or you can turn your head all the way to the left to increase the twist even more. Good. Try to release through the shoulders. Deep, full breaths. Feel at all that you're holding in the shoulders here, then make any adjustments that you need, because we really want to try to let go as much as possible.
right? So come out of this side. Once more, turn your head to face down. Bring your hands under your shoulders. Press carefully into those hands to roll yourself all the way up. And just come to sit. Sitting tall, feel the spine lengthens. The chest open just a little bit more, the posture a little bit taller. Excellent. So now let's do a forward fold. Since we've informed the spine in a back bend, we've informed the spine in a twist, now let's inform the spine in a forward fold. And we're just going to keep this hip opening concept happening. So first of all, take your blanket or your pillow and just sit right up on the edge of that. Okay? And then we're going to bring the soles of our feet together and our knees apart and come into butterfly. So you want to feel a little tilt forward of the pelvis. Yeah. So that we're not way back here rocking back. We want to feel just a little bit of assistance with our prop underneath us. And if you're feeling still very round or your knees are really high, then get a little higher. And if your hips still feel, even though we did Supta Baddha Konasana, or we did heart bench earlier, and the knees were apart, if your hips are still feeling really tight or still feeling kind of cranky, you can take your blocks or your rolled up towels and place them underneath your knees. If your hips are okay, you don't have to put those there. Now, when we fold forward, you have a couple of options. You can simply fold and let your head dangle. And this tends to be, allow the weight of your head to also inform the letting go of the muscle, inform the depth to which your body goes. If that doesn't feel okay for you for any reason, you can separate your feet a little bit, place your blocks between your feet, stack them to whatever height you need, and fold forward and place your forehead down. We want our hands in front of the shins with the elbows just soft. No hands on your body so that you're not tempted to pull or forced. Remember, this is all about letting go. Letting go of the effort, letting go of the breath, letting go of the mind, okay? So, assume whatever variation makes sense for you, and remember that if you choose a variation and during the posture it doesn't feel okay, you can adjust to a different variation, all right? So we're gonna tip forward as far forward with a long back as we can. Then we're gonna place our hands down. Then we're gonna start to release the elbows, release the head, release the shoulders. I'm gonna set our timer. Here we go.
place the hands down. Press into the hands. Roll up. Head dangling the whole time you're coming up. Good. And then bring your hands to the outsides of your thighs. Bring the knees carefully together. Good. Using those hands, maybe just hug the legs in a little bit. Squeezing and pressing to the outer hips just a little bit. Good. All right, so next we're going to take one more forward fold and we're going to extend the legs forward and come into caterpillar. Caterpillar is such a beneficial pose to do. It's really one that I think we should do just about every day if possible, because it breaks up the sheath of fascia that is from the bottom of your feet all the way up the backs of the legs, all the way up the back of the body, and goes over your head and attaches right here at your forehead, third eye area. And it's one sheath. It's the biggest sheath of fascia in our entire body. And that fascia can get very tight. It can cause tension headaches. It can cause tightness all the way through the back of the body. It's why if you have a headache, sometimes massaging your feet will relieve that tension headache because you're breaking up that fascia. So legs go straight ahead. The legs are soft, so nothing, no activation, no pushing or forcing, but again, that nice tall seat and the little tip of the pelvis. So if you just want to fold forward and release the hands and release the head, that's great. This is also a place where you could slide your blocks between your legs and see if you can go like past the knees or just at the edge of the knees past like patellar tendon area, so that you lengthen to fold and you're not just rounding this way. If we put the blocks between the thighs, we're just going to round and drop your head here. But we want to think long to fold, right? And remember that where you start is not going to be where you end. So if the blocks are higher, if you're feeling very high to start, just breathe, just let go and let the body do the work. Let it release. Yeah. This is one of those ones you do in the morning and you find yourself starting up here, and then at the end of 5 or 7 minutes you're here. If you stay for even longer, you get even farther, right? And then you'll feel just a little bit more open for the rest of your day. It's really nice. So let's get set up. Folding forward, hands to the sides of the legs, releasing the elbows. Deep breaths in and out. sitting tall once more. Nice. All right, so now we're going to come into sleeping swan. And for those of you that are familiar with a more yang style practice, sleeping swan is pigeon in yang. So I recommend taking a blanket across your mat, maybe that same blanket you were sitting on. And then we're going to come on to hands and knees. So we're going to place the right knee, shin, and foot above the blanket. So what I do is I sit on my right hip and I place it above the blanket. So my foot's not touching the blanket, my shin, my knee, nothing. My knee I want about as wide as my yoga mat, okay? And they're gonna be on like a diagonal. So they are not parallel unless you were like super open in the hips already. We're gonna take a diagonal, we're gonna leave the knee where it is, and we're gonna tip up and over, so then you come more towards the shin, and then the blanket is across your pubic bone. Again, your foot is not on the blanket. So if you need to pick up your blanket and move it so that your foot can be underneath it, and that's fine, but we don't want the foot on the blanket because that will put the knee into a rotation that we don't want, okay? So from here, we're gonna fold forward. And if you're not able to fold all the way over and release availability, so then we're gonna take blocks, and we'll take those blocks into a T. This block is gonna go right underneath the chest, and this one right underneath your forehead. And then you can start to release the shoulders. And then once your hips start to release more, you might be able to take those blocks out from underneath you. You can start with the blocks, take them away. Without the blocks, your choice. But make sure your right knee is wider than your right hip. If this is not available for you, for whatever reason, ankle, knees, hips, you can lay on your back, cross your right ankle over your left knee, left thigh, and then you're gonna wanna put your left foot on something. If it's on a wall, a couch, coffee table, so that you're not having to hold the whole time. Okay, we're going to want some kind of support holding it for you, so you still get all of this in the outer hip, but you just don't have to do any work. Okay, so get set up into your version of sleeping swan. On the right side, I'll set our timer. Here we go.
start to roll yourself up, pressing down through your hands. And then in between sides, you can swing your leg around, come to sit. You can come to hands and knees. Some people even like to come into a little downward dog in between sides. Whatever makes sense for you, take a few breaths just to transition. And making any movements that you need to adjust. And then we'll just come on to the second side. So this time the left knee, shin, and ankle and foot all are in front of the blanket. The right leg is extended back and we tip up and over with the hips. And a good gauge is that you're on the top of the right knee and the top of the right foot. And if you're there, your hips typically tend to be pretty neutral, pretty parallel there. Make sure the foot is in front of the blanket, but if your foot needs to come back a little bit, then just lift up the blanket and give yourself a little bit more space, okay? And then fold forward, utilizing your blocks or no blocks. And again, we'll set the timer for this side. All right. Inhale, bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Press yourself carefully up to sit. And we're gonna just swing that right leg around. Come to a nice tall seat for just a moment. Let your hands find your thighs, grow tall, the eyes can close. And just regulate, inhale and exhale, deep, even breaths. And now we'll begin preparations for Shavasana. So you can slide your props all out to the side. And in Shavasana, we want to try to come to as neutral as possible. So we want to use as little props as possible. And so the reason for that is we want the body to be neutral so that all the effects of this practice can start to sink in, can really just start to absorb into the body. So we just really want to come as close to, but if your low back is bugging you, take something under your knees. If your shoulders and neck are bothering you, put something underneath your head. Support the places that aren't naturally on the ground if you're finding discomfort. And so then we lay very carefully with the body and we start to extend the arms down on a diagonal, closing the eyes. And let the mind's attention just focus on your belly. On the rise with the inhale and the soften with the exhale. And every exhale can also soften the physical body a little bit more. The inhale keeps us aware, keeps us present. The exhale teaches us to let go. That balance of yin and yang, even here in Shavasana.
begin to deepen into your breathing. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Reach your arms overhead. And then bend your knees and roll slowly to your right side. And taking just a moment to pause. And then press into that left hand and begin to slowly roll yourself up to sit. Letting once more your head be the very last piece of the puzzle. And then you just find a tall, lengthened seat. The eyes again closed or gazing downward softly. Notice your body, your mind, your breath. And then bring your palms together in front of your heart, bowing your head. And we honor the practice of yoga, the practice of yin yoga, the information that we take in about ourselves, about this world, information about how to move our bodies, how to breathe, and how to stay present and connected. We give honor and gratitude for one another as we go along this journey together. Namaste.